All right, hey everybody, this is John. Let's take a look at earnings. We had Applied Materials and NVDA. So the expected move on NVIDIA was $18, and we closed at 202. Here we are at 165. So that's a move of $32. That's 60, yeah, and so almost 2 times the expected move. So that's pretty much a disaster for NVIDIA. And then Applied Materials. Also, let's see, their expected move was, let me see what their expected move was. AMAT was $2.30. And so they're down about the expected move, so it's holding on to it pretty good. And then the question is how is the NASDAQ futures, how are they doing? And, you know, they closed here at 69.20. With NVIDIA, they sold off to 68.80, so about 40 points. And since then, they've recovered a little bit. And of course, they had a fantastic rally today. So it'll be interesting tomorrow. Obviously, semis are going to have a tough time, but what we want to see is how the markets react. All right, so let's look at the key kind of statistics here that I like to look at to gauge the markets. And I know I kind of beat this horse a little bit, but I think it's critical. When the 10-day moving average of the put-call ratio, remember, when it's down here, you know, below 0.80, it kind of just means that the market is very long, and if the market is very long, there's not really anybody left to buy, okay? Now, that could be a little decline, or it could turn into a much bigger decline. Along the same lines, if we're up here and everybody's short and when no one else is left to sell, okay, it kind of marks the bottom, you know? So here, everybody's long, you know, here, everybody's short, all right? So here we are again, everybody's short, and so if everybody's short, then is the market going to roll over and die from here, or are we going to rally to the point? And new highs, I doubt it, but are we going to rally to the point here where we can at least bring this back down, and then at that point we roll over and die? That's what I think is going to happen. So I do think that so today, you know, I think we rally into Thanksgiving. It doesn't mean that we go straight up. I know NVIDIA's down and stuff like that too, so obviously tomorrow's going to be pretty important. We do have kind of this head and shoulders bottom, but of course everybody can see this as well. And then here's the neckline. So the idea here is that we could at least potentially test that neckline and pop through it, and then from there we'll see. Okay, again, I don't think we're going to be making new all-time highs anytime soon, but I do think that the path of least resistance here is setting up to be higher. And okay, so there we go there. All right, a couple of things I want to show you guys, a couple of questions on Edge. We've done a lot of updates to this, and we've gotten a lot more data in here. So just going to go over here and click on this, and just kind of how it works. And so just to show you real quick how it's organized, they've organized all the data and stuff like that here. Also, too, I just wanted to let you know before I dive into this real quick, for those of you that are doing the trial, that has been extended out to about December 1st. All right, so you still have a couple more weeks to kind of check out the new format and everything like that. So if you go to Edge Dashboard, that kind of shows you the updates and news that come up. One of the ones that I used on this, see, there's the videos. One of the ones I used on this was they showed all the increasing short interest on the cannabis stocks, and with that I was able to switch from my long trades to short, and that was something that we highlighted, and that was great. You go Edge Updates and News, then you'll see this kind of setting up there. So this is one, and stuff like this is what I find pretty fascinating. So on this one, cannabis short sellers nearly recoup Wednesday's losses. All right, so what does this mean? So you can click on this and come in here, and it's just like, all right, so what are they talking about here? And what's interesting here with this is that they have information that you just can't get anywhere else. And so, for example, CGC, it shows us like, okay, currently there's $835 million worth of stock that's short, okay? Over the last quarter, that's increased by an additional 351 million shares. We can see that so far, hedge funds are down $309 million mark to market, okay? And then TLRY, same thing, they're down $336 million. So collectively, in the top 10 stocks here, there's $3.3 billion worth of shorts, and right now they're losing $835 million. And so the question here is, you know, are they right or are they wrong? Okay, and then I have a video on this you can click and kind of get a sense of that. But how I use this stuff is I can come over here to CGC, and I know that they're increasing their short position, right? And if I know that they're increasing their short position, then I can kind of look at the normal ebbs and flows here and say, okay, well, if they're increasing their short position here into this, and what we've done is rally back up to the midpoint, well, I want to get on the same side as the hedge funds here, okay? And then at this point, I'm expecting that any rally to the midpoint is actually going to continue to fall. All right. So just because, remember that when there's high short interest, it doesn't mean that it's going to be a short squeeze. It means sometimes that they're right. Okay. And then I come back to the charting structure. So if I see high short interest and the moving averages are stacked positive and prices like this, great. I think there's going to be a short squeeze. But if the short interest is increasing and the structure is now, like this, where the moving averages are stacked negative or they're mixed, guess what? They're typically right. Okay. And that's what I want to know. And then the other part on this that I really like here is the edge watch list. And this is something that you can start to get kind of a hang of in terms of, I like to look at this. So we've got the stocks that we like to trade that we'll like to look at here. And so we'll look at here is just say, okay, like Facebook. What's happening with Facebook? Well, over the last week, an additional net 205,000 shares have been shorted. Okay. We can see that the total here. And so what I've noticed on this is that when a stock is in a downtrend, it's kind of, say it closes below its 21, if the short interest is increasing every week, all right, and you can, essentially you can see the difference every day or get this information daily, you essentially pile on with them, okay? They're right. That's the kind of stuff. And then on the other hand, I also like to see, it's like, okay, well, if they're, right now they're increasing shorts on Boeing. They're increasing shorts on Alibaba. On Netflix, what's interesting here is they actually covered 500,000 shares. All right, so is Netflix now kind of starting to bottom out? And then this was something that was updated, yesterday, and we can see for NVDA going into earnings, they actually added an additional 429,000 shares short. And as we saw today after hours, the stock dropped $36. So these hedge funds are smart, and a lot of times they're right. So when we see this stuff, we don't want to fight them, we want to join them. All right, and so that's what this data is for. And then we can say, okay, great, we got our watch list of stocks that we like to trade. We have IBD 50, stocks that we like on that list, and it's the same thing. So there's a lot of really cool stuff here. And again, if you've been on the trial, it's extended out to December 1st, so you have more time to kind of dive in and use this. All right, so if you're seeing this and you're thinking like, man, I would like to check this out because this is institutional level data that has never been available to the retail trader before, literally giving you an edge. You can sign it up and try. It's $97 a month. This is the, at this point, you can kind of dive in for 97 bucks, try it for 30 days and see what you think. Obviously, you can cancel anytime. But this is a game changer for the retail world. This is not information that up to this point has ever been available before. The short interest you see on other sites, that's weeks old, sometimes 30 days old. They have up to the date information in terms of not only what the shorts are today, but how the funds are positioned for it. Are they winning on this trade? Are they losing on this trade? And again, it's just insight that you just can't get anywhere else. So pretty good stuff. All right, guys, have a good night. See you at the next update.